Hey everybody, welcome back to Conversation with Rick.
And me, Naeem.
And our special guest today is Carlito Bonjoc.
Hello, Rick.
Is that the
Now,
proper way of saying it?
Yes.
Do we call you Grandmaster?
Oh, sir, just Carlito or Guru, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I actually prefer that. Yeah.
Great Grandmaster.
Great Grandmaster. Now, just so that our audience knows, you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about
I
that.
just want to make people kind of trip out a little bit. I actually can walk, but when I do my seminars, I do the wheelchair. It's give them a
Dude,
surprise.
and I've seen your seminars. They're so freaking awesome. What you do in that wheelchair is incredible. And that's why I'm bringing this up first.
Well, here it is. As a child, I was born with some spine problem, and so I had my legs had some paralysis to my legs, but they were pretty low, and so my left leg was my weakest leg. My right leg was my stronger leg, but I had a deformed ankle,
Right.
and so I walked with a limp, and I kind of like wobbled it and everything. When I walked, I thought it was like a cool pimp, you know. But
That drop.
That drop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway,
That's funny.
Yeah. So when I grew up, I could walk.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't run fast, you know, and I just learned how to
Move.
move, you know. Yeah. So anyway, so I grew up when I was learning most of my martial arts was when I was younger, and then all the way into early adulthood. And then basically I was born in 1961.
Okay.
And then so by the time so I was already studying. I started studying not in the Philippines, but after we moved here in 1972. I was being bullied and everything, and so my dad thought that I could get some confidence, you know.
So the story that I'm hearing, the stuff that we looked at, your sister helped you.
Yeah,
Yes, she
she's the
did.
one who
Yeah.
pushed Dad to do
Yeah,
this.
because actually my sister has been training. I was already 10 years old when we moved here. My sister has been training with my father since she was 7 or 8 years
Now,
old.
what was she training? What system was it?
She was training a lot of empty hands,
Empty
and
Really?
yeah.
You didn't go
So
in
not
the
even
sticks?
sticks.
No, not even sticks.
Huh.
Yeah, and and a lot of them.
Research is wrong.
Yeah, a lot of them. Oh no, she did learn sticks, but she
Okay.
learned it from Angel Cabales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not
So
from
your
my father.
family system then is
Yeah.
different.
It's empty-handed. The Cadiz Lapu-Lapu is...
No, the Cadiz Lapu-Lapu is from the double stick.
Oh.
Yeah, and but my father, we'll go back to my sister in a minute, but my father was, when he was a younger man, he wanted to do challenge fights in the Philippines.
That's the clarification.
Yeah,
That's the...
hand to hand.
Yeah.
And then so a lot of times they put on gloves, a lot of times they don't, and he preferred when
So
they don't.
bare knuckle.
And, yeah, bare knuckle. And then so he
Wow.
started studying because he wanted to learn how to fight those fights.
Right.
And in the Philippines at that time, you don't go to, like normal sports. You go through this guide, and as you grow and you progress,
right,
you go
the
to
backyard,
You just remember
your
to
fighters
Top
get
Gun.
tougher, right?
Yeah.
Back then
like a
it's
video game, you
yeah,
get to
you
the
bring
top.
money to the table, and you can fight the champion right there.
Wow.
Really?
And
Yeah,
so,
the Philippines is crazy.
yeah, so that's what my dad did. His father put some money up, and he fought this guy. They fought him at the beach. And my dad said there was no contest. He beat my dad up.
At least he knew how to lose
Yeah,
gracefully.
and then then he because he just wanted when his early training, he just wanted
Yeah.
the meat, and then so my grandfather put his right hand guy on him to train my father more of the traditional way.
Okay.
And then not all the way, but enough so that way he could
translate it to the empty hands.
Into empty hands. And then he challenged that fighter again during market time.
How what was the time frame from the first fight to...
I couldn't tell you. But so it was months later, I'm sure. And then so he challenged him again, and this time my dad beat him. Yeah. And
Wow, with
yeah,
a
they
few
still
months
they
of
still talk
training in
about that
between.
fight today.
I'll tell you
That's
it's a
intense.
crazy story why I know that it's crazy when you fight in the Philippines. I was visiting the Philippines maybe about 10 some odd years ago, and one of my cousins, they had a friend who owned a gym. And in that gym they taught taekwondo or whatever it was. And I just wanted to work out. So, hey, do you mind if I work out? Sure, no problem. So I get there and we're working out. He goes, oh, we have a tournament next Saturday. Why don't you fight? I go, I'm not even used. That's okay. I go, I don't even have a belt. That's okay. We'll give you one. So we go there, and you know where they had the fight at the Palenque. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So I get that the Palenque is a supermarket. It's kind of like a market, meat market,
Yeah.
right? And so I go, oh, is it here, somewhere here? He goes, yeah, it's right there. I go, on the cement? He goes, yeah, you see the tape? So you're fighting on cement, on a taped square, and that was the arena.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What the, like, I don't know if I want to fight. And it was nuts. It was just like, and there's no no pads or anything, no gloves. You just got in there.
Get in there
fight,
and win or lose.
I was like, okay. Yeah.
So I can only imagine, even if that was, you said 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Your father was fighting what?
My father was. What do you mean?
Like how long ago was your
when
father
my
fighting?
father fighting? He was young. He was like in his. He was young, like
So like 60,
under
70
20
years
years
ago?
old. Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
that was in the 50s.
Yeah.
And back then there was really no rules.
Yeah, there was really no rules. Yeah.
Oh, bare knuckle fighting.
Bare knuckle fighting.
Yeah.
That's
So-
crazy.
But you know what? They were kind of respectful with each other because you're gonna run into their family. You're gonna run
Right.
into,
Oh, small, island.
a small area, and but later on, as my father fought more and more, a lot of people didn't want to challenge him. It's just because
Reputation.
he had this way of throwing you that would hurt you.
Oh, wow.
He'd slam you on the ground, and people would get hurt.
Is that just something he picked up on his own through experience?
It must have been part of the trainer that he had,
Huh.
and so they're called ugly throws.
Ugly throws.
Yeah, like I'll give you the description. Like to throw you over my hip,
Uh-huh.
like on a regular judo throw.
Yeah, like a hip throw, yeah.
That'll be your right arm,
Right.
right? And you go behind me, right?
Right.
This is the opposite. I throw you on this arm.
Oh, so you land on
you're
your face.
ragdolling.
Yeah,
You're ragdolling
Yeah.
somebody over.
yeah, yeah. So it's the opposite.
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah.
Can you imagine landing on your face, not putting your hand in?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing is to put them in a lock and then throw them.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so they can't fall.
Really? Yeah, you can't fall. And also, if you try to resist, you dislocate something.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So let's
Dirty
get back to your
throws.
sister. 'Cause
Yeah.
she
So anyway, my sister was already trained in the Philippines, and over here she watched me get bullied, and I would cry. And then so she basically told my dad, "Hey, Dad, maybe you can help me."
Manly men cry, it's okay.
Yeah. And she asked maybe I can start training, and so my father, one of his dearest friends, a dearest friend of the family,
Uh-huh.
this gentleman, his name is Roy Honor. He's my Largo Mano instructor. He took us in. When
Okay.
we were new here. We lived in his house.
Oh, wow.
And then so between he and my father started teaching me boxing.
Really?
Yeah, and then after that, every few weekends when these boys would come, they were friends of the family.
Uh-huh.
Then we would do sticks in the backyard.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
you
six
started
came later.
boxing.
Yeah, sticks came later. Yeah, and then me training with my father.
Uh-huh.
She started training me sticks after after Roy Nor passed away. I started training with Roy Nor in 1972. He passed away in like 1972. He passed away like in around 76 or 77.
Okay.
And then so my father started training me with the sticks, but he would get frustrated because
why is that?
he didn't have a
patience?
lesson plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
traditionally that's always been the way it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Filipino martial arts was taught that
he
way.
does a technique, and I try to follow, and if I don't get it, I don't get it, and he gets frustrated.
Instead of figuring out how to get
So
you
it was
to-
really a battle training with him.
Oh,
And-
wow.
But we did it anyway, and then eventually, I found Angel Cabales,
Right.
and then once I learned, I had a foundation, my foundation, the Sorada.
Like the basics.
Then now I could understand what my father is showing. I look at it, boom,
okay.
I see it,
Did you go back to Dad and ask him, hey, is this what you meant, or?
No, yes, absolutely.
you know,
Yeah,
probably say, "Okay, now I finally figured out."
I was
You tried to
doing
tell
that.
me
I was
all this
going back and forth to my dad and my
That's
an angel,
awesome.
and then one day, years later, he showed me double sticked. Like patterns, like patterns,
Right.
like Sinawali patterns.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, this is the foundation. Or he says, no, I thought that's something they showed me for fun. I'm like, like, oh my gosh, man, that would have made things so much easier.
But wasn't that traditionally the way though back in the old
Yeah,
days,
that was-
right? I mean,
yeah,
you
that was
just
the
taught
way.
whatever was there for the day. There was
Yeah,
no
yeah.
curriculum. There was no
Yep.
nothing
Yeah.
set as a schedule. That first
Yeah.
you have to learn this, then this,
Right.
and this.
Yeah.
Just kind of
It
you
was
pick
just-
up on what's
Yeah.
happening at that
Because
moment.
in one of our conversations, that's what Danny was mentioning. Is that it's like, oh, today you're just going to talk about this, and
Right.
here's what we're going to learn, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was no set standard of anything.
Yeah.
That's funny to hear that actually coming from somebody like you to say.
I-
Right.
if you-
the
you
years
will-
that you have, yeah. Oh, you didn't get it down? All right, you forget it. We're stopping.
That's your fault. You should have blocked that one.
So what was it like with Angel Cabales? Because he's a legend. I mean, I keep hearing his name
Kind of the
pops up
father
in
of his
every-
screamer.
Yeah, you know what, man? Mano Angel was something. He was the nicest guy. When I had a private lesson with him, he would cook, you know, and so
You bring coconut?
yeah, yeah. He would cook for you, and then and then it was hard, it was hard to bring him extra stuff. Like, I'm paying him, but I wanted, I knew everybody, my uncles, my father, they all knew people or worked in the fields here.
Right.
So in grape season, we had like grapes,
Okay.
cherry season. We had
Now you
cherry.
said here, so 1 second,
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, we're actually in Stockton,
By the way,
California.
and,
Yes.
we're
And,
at Sherwood Mall.
Yeah, it's Sherwood Mall.
At
And
the
this is
Discovery Martial
Discovery
Arts.
Martial
Yes.
Arts.
Discovery
I want to make
Martial
sure that we say that so everybody understands that.
By the
We
way,
can't- yeah, there's a big sign that says where we're at.
Yeah, this is our headquarters.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
for
if
Batasan
you're ever out this way, come visit Curly.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely
It'd be a
stop
lot
by.
of fun.
If we can't get you through the front door, we'll get you in through the side door.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's
what
right.
what changed with Angel stuff and your father's stuff? I
Yeah.
mean, there's got to have been was there a hard transition?
It wasn't that. It was for a while there. It took me probably a good 6 months to get my father to agree to meet an angel.
Really?
6
Why-
months?
Why 6 months?
It's just because after we trained, he wanted to take me to John LaCosta,
Okay.
and then he was killed, and because somebody killed him,
Yeah.
and then he heard about Angel Cabales, but they didn't really know each other. And then so my father thought, just we have enough, and what we have is good. And then, make the long story short, I was watching the news and I saw this segment on martial arts, and then they showed Eskrima, and I was amazed, man. And then so. And how quick Serrata was.
Yeah, I heard that
Yeah.
was the thing that drew you was
Yeah,
the fast
the
hands.
speed, right? And then several months later, a buddy of mine, he's deceased. He passed away already. My good friend. He was in a wheelchair, and one day he calls me up. He says, "Hey, buddy." I say, "What's up? What's up, Rudy? How you doing, man?" He says, "Hey, listen, I know this guy named Joe. And he does what you do." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "The sticks." And I said, "Oh." And so I said, "Can I meet him?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll arrange it." So he called him up. We went over to his house. The funny thing is that when we went to his house, we turned on the street, and it was 4th Street off of Lincoln Street in South Stockton. And then Manon Roy, my instructor, where we lived, the gentleman that took us in, he was on 5th Street.
Oh,
And so the back of Roy's house was this is Roy's house was second from the corner,
Yeah.
and then Joe's house was 1, 2, 3, the 4th house. Yeah.
2 houses over and
Yeah,
down
2
the
houses
street.
over and behind them. And so then I asked him what style he did. He said it's called Serrata. I didn't know what that was. And then he showed it to me, and my eyes popped up. I said, "Who's your instructor?" He said, "Angel Cabales." I said, "I want to meet him,
Right.
And so he says, "Yeah." So he says, "Let's play." So we played, and I was just amazed, man. And then so finally, I just kept talking about it. My father eventually decided to come and meet Angel,
Right.
and I already met Angel. And then I walked him with my dad, and
Did Angel
And-
have a school out here, or was it the garage type of?
no, it was it wasn't the famous school was the Harding School.
Yeah.
He had moved from that, and he moved to it was called the Filipino the Filipino Community Center.
Right.
It was on California and Sonora Street, and so that's where the workout was, and then they met, found out that they belonged to different lodges but the same fraternity. And then,
So they got along pretty
so they
well.
got along, and I started, and I just fell in love with the art, man. And then, and it made me understand Serrata better, you know.
So
and
let
it
me
made
ask
me
you this,
understand my dad's style better.
I have an interesting
Yeah.
question because I know back then, and I've seen photos of you in using a crutch.
Yeah.
When did we have to start sitting down?
Okay, so here's what happened. So in I came into Angel School in 1979. I got my advanced degree in 73, and at that time I was working at I was working at a pizza parlor, and then after that was in the early 80s, and then after that I worked here at the mall, I mean at the other mall across the street at Carl's Jr. Restaurant, and then so that was a franchise. No, that was a company store.
And that was
then when he
after high
turned
school, right?
franchise, I left him, and then I went back to the pizza parlor, and I started. I was the nighttime manager.
Right.
I became the nighttime manager, and so here's the crazy thing, man. This was in the mid '80s. Okay, I was at Delta College local college here, taking as many courses as I can. Right?
Working at night.
Working at night, all right, and partying hard on the weekends, man.
Well, of course, you're Filipino. You gotta party hard.
Just,
Hell,
you know,
that's automatic.
partying hard on the weekend, man, and so I never gave my body a rest.
Oh,
and then,
man.
No, that's
so one
that's a lot
time,
of stress.
so me and my buddies, we decided to go to San Francisco one day.
That's
and,
a good idea.
And we did a lot of walking around. I didn't have good shoes, man, and I developed a blister on my heel because I had deformity in my right
pivot
foot.
on the heel.
And I pivot on the heel.
Yeah.
And I had developed this blister, and it swelled up. I went to the doctor. Doctor looked at it. He cleaned it up, gave me some pills just in case it got infected. Then I was good.
Right.
Then he cleared me to go back to work. So I'm running my shifts, man. Partying in the weekend, going to school, running my shift.
Didn't learn anything.
Right?
No. Got a big blister. Oh, it's cured?
No.
I'll go back to doing it.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So anyway, one day I'm at work, man, and my legs felt tired like all day, right? You know, it was just hurting.
To the bone.
You know, it was hurting, right? And so when I got home, man, I went to take off my pants, and my leg was swollen. I had this blood streak running up my leg.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then so woke up my dad. Today, Dad, I need to go to the hospital. And so anyway, because I was feverish,
Right.
and then they looked at me, and then they took a culture. They found out that the blister I had, there was a bacteria left in there that worked its way to the bone.
So it festered.
Yeah, and then when it got to the bone, we had a battle to try to correct it.
Right.
And then from 1977 until and they finally amputated my leg in 1993.
In
So I went
93,
from
so-
being able to walk,
Right.
and then to using a cane,
Uh-huh.
then to using crutches,
Right.
and then
That was a long battle.
Yeah, long battle. Then finally they amputated my leg, and after they amputated my leg, there was no because I was right leg heavy,
Uh-huh.
and because it was my strong leg, the fancy
prosthetics, yeah.
prosthetics that would give me the right pivot to do what I want to do would break, and then so I had to get a regular, basic type.
Something sturdier, but
Yeah,
you couldn't
something
get
sturdy.
the mobility.
Yeah, and then so eventually I started using crutches, and then one day, this years later, man, one day this was in probably in 2000 already, 2000, yeah, in the early 2000. One day I was going down the steps, and I fell forward.
Oh shit.
My crutch broke. It was a wooden crutch that broke. Put my hand out like this to
brace it.
brace the fall. My face still hit my hand, and then it was then that I'm thinking I need to go to a wheelchair.
Right.
Wow. So
And
you,
so
you,
you
you
decided-
really tried to
Yeah,
get
I tried.
to
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
on your feet.
Yeah, and then so finally I got the wheelchair, man, and then I had freedom because I can go anywhere fast. Before it would take me forever.
You know, and I love that you put it as a positive. It wasn't even a negative thought. You were
No,
like, oh,
no.
I got more freedom this way. No, I'm
Yeah.
good.
And then I could do more with my screen on.
Wow. So that actually
Now,
opened
how
it.
was that transition? Because I can
Yeah.
just imagine. I mean,
You know what, man? It was. I had good teachers, man, and then so one thing that made me understand because the way Serato